How do I think Kanban can help people solve complex problems? Let me address a different question. How do I think Kanban can help people deal with complexity? Complexity often requires collaboration, not necessarily between teams, but maybe between groups, crews, or individuals. Kanban only requires that we have Kanban system members. Kanban includes a definition of workflow, 3 practices and 4 measures. The first practice is defining and visualizing a workflow. The visualization of that workflow is essentially the Kanban board or part thereof if there's more than one workflow on the Kanban board. There is so much in the definition of workflow to help make sense of complexity. Kanban essentially means visual signal. Kanban guide helps us to optimize signaling so we see what we need to do to help the workflow. By clearly focusing on what active work we should focus on or bring in today, how much work we're comfortable doing at the same time, our aspiration for more predictability, and visualizing relatively aged work, blocked work, and dependencies, we can understand more clearly how we navigate complexity. The second practice of actively managing items in a workflow is about the Kanban system members addressing the signals. By reviewing what we need to work on together today, we continually refresh our thinking to address the complexity we're facing. The third practice is improving the workflow. Kanban system members can change the definition of the workflow at any time, including which columns to add or remove, etc. When dealing with complexity, we need to strike a balance between allowing the system to settle so Kanban system members can observe trend changes after a single policy change, and adapting to reality by making several changes at the same time in the definition of workflow. A daily review of flow is not required, but it's useful as are retrospectives. Effective communication where we get to step back to review what's going on helps us to avoid execution bias. Delivering more quickly improves feedback loops. Kanban is compatible with other approaches such as Scrum and Lean UX. For complexity, I like to encourage discovery. Many ideas have insufficient evidence that supports them ever being built. Generally, we want to avoid the fantasy land of starting to build without even talking to the customer. We want to avoid over-experimentation and under-experimentation. While Kanban is great at improving effectiveness, efficiency, and predictability, complexity presents challenges. Therefore, a build it and they will come approach can be expensive. I recommend that Kanban system members consider a discover to deliver approach and use Kanban's data-informed decision-making to better deal with complexity. But let's remember that the treasure is often inside the building. There's often room for improvement in customer service delivery, and by using Kanban, we can get through the work items for those improvements more effectively, efficiently, and predictably. I like to use the common Kanban tool, Monte Carlo probabilistic forecasting, which helps manage expectations by issuing the caveat that will give you a better forecast next week, next sprint, next month. Knowing we're up against it for a deadline early on can be enough to course correct or simplify how we can achieve outcomes. The beauty of Kanban is we can use it at all levels as a strategy to optimize the delivery of value. In these times, value is not only for the organization, the customer, and the end user, is also about sustainability, the reduction of risk, and learning. And Kanban does not stop you from having a rhythm to review flow, the definition of workflow, or the work.